So it looked like Ben Johnson has broken his silence about Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, and playing the Cleveland Browns. Now, before we get into what he had to say, we got to go into the context of this game. What actually happened? How did Shedeur Sanders perform? How did Deshaun Watson and Dylan Gabriel show up in this quarterback battle? But one thing I can tell you guys definitively, Todd Monken is not ready to name a starter. And based on everything I've seen, besides Shedeur Sanders making that one hiccup, now Shedeur Sanders stated that the ball slipped out of his hand. That is exactly what he said. Now, he said it was sandy on the ball or something like that. But whatever the case is, he let it be known that the ball slipped out his hand. That was an accident, bro. And I'm rocking with Shedeur on that. Shout out to Cameron Justice over on Twitter, man. He pretty much summed up the whole game. So at half, the Browns was tied at 10 after their kicker hit a 50-yard field goal. Shedeur Sanders hit Luka for a gain of 36, which probably one of the best throws of the day. Dylan Gabriel went Shedeur Sanders with 6 of 11, 79 yards, 0 touchdown, 1 interception. Dylan Gabriel, 5 of 8, 22 yards, 0 touchdown, 1 interception, and 2 sacks. Dylan Gabriel had 2 sacks. Oh, how did Deshaun Watson? I think Deshaun Watson threw for like 100-some yards, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see here real quick before we get into it. So Deshaun Watson, 11 of 15, 126 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interception, 1 sack, and 1 fumble. Shedeur, he did not give up any sacks today, which is good, you know what I'm saying, for him. But let's listen to Ben.
Call right now, and then Ruben has a shoulder, so we'll keep looking at that as we go through the week here. Man, proud of our guys and how they played. We talked about being disciplined in all 3 phases, and we really saw today, I think, 2 penalties on the day from all 3 phases. We haven't had a practice yet where we've had that few fouls, so that was really encouraging to see. They took that to heart. I don't know if I've been a part of a preseason one where that's been the case in my career, so credit to them. And then we talked about being physical, being fast, being detailed. I thought our guys were able to cut it loose. We simplified the game plans from what we've been doing in practice and just let them go out there and play. And I thought the fundamentals, the technique showed up. I thought our defense was tackling for the most part when they had opportunities. Offensively, we had some detail there in the passing game. Quarterbacks were fairly accurate with the football. But it'll be really good tape for us to look at, and it's a good start as we get going. If you notice a difference in terms of offensive execution, and it looked better in the second half, that's really because of Antoine Randall calling it there in the second half. I thought he did a phenomenal job, with Case taking the reins and then transition on over to Miller just to see how he was trying to stay in their wheelhouse. He was part of the quarterback meeting last night, and we're talking about what was on the call sheet and their favorites and all that. And, I think it was a phenomenal experience for him. And I know our guys really rallied around that as well. So I'll open it up from there.
Why'd you hand off play calling duties at all? Why him specifically?
Yeah, well, I think we might take a look at a couple guys here during the preseason. Last year, Declan had an opportunity in one of those games to do the second half. And so I wanted El to get that chance, and he wanted it too. I mean, I think he's an outstanding coach, and I think sometimes when you're put in certain position rooms, you kind of get labeled one thing or another. And here's the thing about El: I think he's got a chance to be an offensive coordinator in this league. I think he's got a chance to be a head coach in this league. I think he would do a phenomenal job in both those respects. And I don't know if he gets that type of credit around the league right now. So it's a good opportunity for him to get some recognition.
The screen play, Ahmed, that got out of the gates. What was your vantage point on what made that all click?
Oh, shoot. We've been harping on those details. We got specific landmarks. We drill them every single day. I think our defense has done a really good job throughout the week of practice to make those hard for us. So we've had a lot of very difficult looks. Some of our worst plays in practice over the last couple of weeks have been our screens. And so, I just think it's a really good job up front, executing the timing, the rhythm, and then, we always talk about those screen runners. When they get the ball in the hands, we're trying to get vertical for a few steps and then turns into a punt return after that. And that's certainly what that one looked like as he was taking it across the field. So good to see those guys blocking down the field. A guy like Caden Davis, who really is trying to run coverage away from the screen, ends up making a key block, and it's good to see things like that.
Do you feel the rotation at left tackle between Quran and Jedrick went?
Yeah, I think that's a hard one for me to assess right now. Sometimes that trench play, you gotta go ahead and take a look at the lens from behind and really be able to take a look at it. But as a whole, I would say offensive line, I felt like our quarterback got hit more than I would like. Tyson certainly did in the first half, and second half we still felt some pressures there on Case and Miller. So we'll look at why that was the case, and then running game wise was a little bit spotty as well. So different style of defense certainly attributes to that. Their front is coming off the ball, and they make it very difficult for one-on-one blocks, and you got to be very specific with your angles and all that. And so there's a back and forth there in the running game as well. So hard to say a whole lot about left tackle quite yet.
Setting aside today, the first team offense, how ready do you feel like that group is now with less than a month until the season starts?
Yeah, I feel really good about where those guys are at. We had a phenomenal throwing session before we got going today, and that was by design. I mean, we got over 60 plays that we're able to simulate, going in a huddle, calling the play, talking through the coaching points, the footwork, the timing, the rhythm. I thought all those guys that didn't play in the game, we needed that. I think that's how you get better at the passing game, is you got to have days like that. And so it was a good time to do it. We'll assess whether we need to play in the next couple games as we go through these joint practices here, and we'll see where we're at as a team. But I'm happy with what the offense looks like right now, and yet we're only halfway through this thing, and we got a long ways to go.
This time last year, even later into camp, into August last year, you voiced a lot of frustrations.
Yeah.
What do you feel like is bothering you right now? What do you feel like still needs to be cleaned up?
Well, my concerns last year were a lot with the pre-snap, and we don't have those procedure issues to that degree anymore. And so, provided we can keep those to a minimum, I think that's where we'll continue to get better. I think our defense is going to continue to get better because they're facing a clean unit as well. And, we'll see what it looks like going against a couple new opponents. I know, I'm excited to go down to Cincinnati, and they've got a lot of new talent on defense that we're going to have to be on our P's and Q's if we want to have success against. And so that, to me, is going to help us really shape where we're at as an offense right now.
What impressed you about January today?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's something you see it in the springtime, the new techniques that we're coaching with, and he's flashing, and yet it's like, is this the time he's going to turn it on? And you don't know, and then you go into a game like this, and you see the get off, you see the relentlessness. I mean, you could feel his presence every single snap. And I'm standing close to the D linemen, and they're hooting and hollering and cheering for him because they're as excited as he is, because they're seeing him going out there and making plays and making an impact like that. He's such a hard worker. I know he's been in the program now for a minute, and to see him have some success on the field like that was huge.
What's he showing you that whether he can be this next running back and his fit with this offense?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we feel good about those top two backs right now and where they're at. So the battle for 3, 4, 5, whatever that looks like, a lot comes down to special teams. A lot comes down to how do you separate yourself from those top two guys? What's your skill set? How is it different? He's got that slashing mentality where he's hard to bring down in space, and that showed up again today. It showed up in practice really throughout camp so far. We'll continue to challenge him to find a defined role there on special teams where he can help us out the most there. And then, pass protection. How do we continue to improve? When you're a little bit smaller as a running back, that's always what I'm looking for, is how stout are we holding up to a blitzing linebacker as well. So things that we're looking for as we continue through this thing.
Couple more things. Bishop hasn't been here long, but you came away with a couple of takeaways today. How do you kind of sort through the significance of that in a game like this?
Well, no, I think it's a credit to him. He doesn't say a whole lot. He's just learning and trying to absorb the system right now. And, I think DA has been pretty clear with how our pass defense, it works together. It's the rush up front combined with the coverage in the back end. And when you feel that front coming off the ball and affecting the quarterback to the degree that they did, move him off his spot, that's where you get some overthrows and things of that nature. And Beanie's in great position, and he took advantage of it twice, Thought he had great return afterwards as well. And so it was awesome to see. We'll continue to evaluate him as we get going. Is also where we got to get better as a team is we got to score some touchdowns when we get those takeaways. So there's a lot of good tape from today. I know what the score says, and yet we got a lot to learn from and grow from as well.
So just about a year ago, you talked about maybe 4 or 5 guys you can trust to be in the offense where they need to be. What does that list look like now? I think last year was like Rome, Ozzie, DJ. What does that list look like now going into?
Yeah, I don't know if I could put a number on it, but these guys they understand what the expectation is, and I think they study their tails off, and they do. I mean, they're professionals, and you bring in some new guys, some young guys, like take Xavion for example, and now you can just say, hey, just do what Rome does, just do what Khalif does, just like that's where this thing really takes off. And Xavion is on his stuff because he's just watching them and doing what they do. And so there's not a number on it, but there's a lot of confidence right now with where we are, where we're heading, and what we can potentially become here as we keep going through this thing. I love the fact that we take all the bells and whistles off today, and we're more static, not a whole lots of motions and all that, and these guys can just cut it loose and play fast. I thought their play speed showed up today.
3 injury guys I want to check in on really quick. Montez, how soon do you expect to?
Sooner, like within this week.
And Braxton?
Same thing.
Kyler?
Unknown. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.